sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out, hear me out. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart to slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Losing almost all my energy. It's getting hard to talk.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toffee Bluecast. How are we doing, Paul? You all right?
Not bad, yes. Exhausted. You know, any teacher knows that there's a new level of tired when you're about to finish for the summer, and we generally are, thank God. So yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting about the Blues because it's been a while.
Well, there's loads to talk about. I was just writing a big list. And we have got a guest on to join us as well to cover it. I mean, we'll blast through it, but there is a lot of topics to talk about, isn't there? I'm just dealing with this now, but a lot going on.
Yeah, it seems as though we're quite busy getting people in, actually, which is good, and a few people going out. I think some that most people are happy about, and maybe one that people are divided on. So we'll have a chat about him as well.
Right, shall we get the guest on then? Let's do this. I don't know if you can hear
Let's do.
the bird calling or the falcon in the background, but we'll get him on. I've just looked now. It hasn't gone live to Twitter. I don't know why on this one, but we'll crack on. It's still on YouTube, so come over, people. Let's have a look. Let's give him some introduction music. Guess who he is? The falcon. Dave from the Falcon Blues. How you doing, mate?
Oh, not too bad, lads. Thank you very much. I thought it was like going to be fireworks and stuff in it for the moment. There, I thought it was.
I forgot to tell you to come on with flares.
Yeah, that's it. Smoke bombs and everything. Yeah.
Come on with the Everton flares.
Appreciate it.
Good.
How are we feeling about Everton at the minute, mate?
Well, the Euros are finished now, so I think it's time to actually start thinking about Everton. I think that was the Euros weren't that great, but it was a nice distraction just to be away from Everton for a minute. I think we all needed that breather. I know we've had a hell of a season. We've had a transfer window that is which we're going to talk about anyway, which is pretty up and down at the moment. Some positives, some things to think about, some ins and outs that we were like, these need to go, these need to stay, that kind of stuff. But I think now, we've had a few ins which have, probably give us that little bit of confidence where we think we need it. And it's just worrying about what the outs are going to look like more than anything. But I'm in a positive mood now about Everton. I think I've got to be. It's the final season at Goodison Park. I think there's no room for being a misery arse, because there's going to be plenty of times where we're going to be feeling down about Everton anyway by not being at Goodison Park come the end of next season.
No, I completely agree with you. It's a weird one because it's last season as well. I've just seen training stuff today. Dyche interviewed as well. He looks all fresh, recharged. They are saying players are going to be going out and coming in. They're making that quite obvious, ain't they? So that's something that we're going to talk about. We are going to put the topics on the screen, people. The first player that we're going to talk about, and we'll get a little bit of grooving on this, is Dele Alli. I think that was probably the first thing spoken about, wasn't it? Dele Alli. Thoughts?
It's Paul, you want to go first on that one, or
sorry.
It's a definite elephant in the room, isn't it? So it's
Dave, you go.
You go,
Dave. You go. You're fine.
I think it's weird with Dele, isn't it? I think it's almost like the Calvert-Lewin situation as well. You know, we owe Dele Alli nothing now. I think Dele owes us more than we owe him. I'm gonna play transfer window bingo with Dele Alli and say yes, there is a player in there. You know, it's down to Sean Dyche to get that potential out of him again. It's whether he wants to do it. You know, it's I think it's his last chance saloon. You know, he went to Besiktas and failed. He's come to Everton as, you know, hasn't even made 10, 15 games at Everton. And that, you know, when Lampard brought him in, you thought, oh, you know what, there's an opportunity here for him to revitalise his career, because he was stagnating at Spurs for a long, long time. Wasn't hitting the heights, and then he was all in the press for all the wrong reasons. I would like to keep him, but that's my heart saying that. My head really says no. I wouldn't want to keep him, given just his fitness record in general now. But if Dyche thinks he can get something out of it, I think it's out of the fans' hands. But the deal has got to be right for Everton and not right for Dele Alli. That's how it's got to work. It can't be we're going to pay him 75 grand plus a 4 million signing on fee for coming as a free. It's got to be right for Everton. It's got to be like, you know, if it's a pay as you play, if it's based on performance related pay as well, you know, you'd have a good game, you get an assist, you get a goal, you're man of the match, that kind of stuff. It's got to be incentivized for him. I don't think Everton should be playing softball with him. We've got to play hardball with this, because we've given him that opportunity. We've paid him a hell of a lot of money since the start of, you know, his career at Everton. And if he didn't stay, I wouldn't lose sleep over it. He might go to another club and might do well, but he might go to another club and dip, you know, but he might just end up doing both, either or, at Everton.
No, you nailed it when you said heart and head, because we all love this fantasy of getting the Dele Alli that was worth 120 million.
Mm-hmm.
Real Madrid, going to Real Madrid for 120 million, smashing it for Spurs. But he hasn't been that player. But I don't know, Dyche for me, Dyche is one that I wouldn't think would let things slip by him. I kind of trust Dyche.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't done nothing to make me not trust him. I think Dyche wouldn't like a lazy player, wouldn't like a flop player. And if Dyche says he can get something out of it, it does make me think, you know what, I trust you, Dyche. If you say you trust that Dele Alli is going to bring this and help us, then he probably will. And it's on Dyche's head if he doesn't, because if Dyche knows that a lot of us probably wanted Dele Alli gone. It's been the biggest flop that we've had. We've not seen him. He's not played. We paid him a lot of money. And this is the perfect opportunity to say bye-bye. Dyche knows that. So if Dyche is recalling him and saying, yeah, here's another chance, that's a big risk, because he's giving him another contract. It might not be a length contract, but it's a big risk if he adds nothing. So I'm partly believing the fairy tale that Dele Alli has probably got something. We've seen him pre-season. He's had it before. If Dyche can bring that back out, that gets me excited, because we are crying out for the old Dele Alli.
Yeah,
I think that it does excite me.
That also sort of solves your number 10 issue as well. You know what I mean? That's another option to have, even if Dele doesn't play 80% of games and doesn't start 80% of games, but is available from the bench. He's fresh for like the last 35, 40 minutes or second half of the game, and can offer something where it's not, where the game's just getting away from us a little bit, and needs that cool head, and that needs that confidence in that player who can unlock defenses like that. And if, like you say, if Dyche is capable of doing it, because we've seen he can do it, it's a big risk, it's a big ask. But Everton can't be the soft touch on this one. We've got to stand firm and go, right, this is our terms, lad. We paid you a lot of money. You have to repay us. You know, yes, he's had his mental health issues and things like that, but he's got to now think, okay, Everton have given me a reprieve. This was last chance saloon for him, and it's shape up or shit out, really.
Completely agree. Paul, what's your thoughts on Dele Alli? Paul, are you going to, I mean, we're going to say stay or keep him or not in a minute and just make a final verdict. Do you think Dele Alli, I mean, he's on the plane. He's on the plane. He's in Ireland now. What do you think, Paul?
He's on the plane and on the grass. He's on possibly the weirdest and best employment deal I've ever seen. You know, the last thing he did for us really was the second half of the Palace game. Do you know what I mean? Has there been anything since? I know about him being injured. It's a case of us still working with Spurs to find some sort of package that we can pay his wages. But I tell you what, if this is where football's different again, because if you were in any other kind of job, who would keep you on for like 2+ years, having produced nothing?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And we know his history. When we think about Dele Alli, we're thinking about goals that he scored for Spurs. Like he scored a great goal away at Palace where he lobs it over his head and volleys it in. We're thinking about when he's sort of late arriving in the box, you know, when he's playing with all these other players. And you're talking 5+ years ago, you know, and it's a long way to come back from that player that we have in our heads to where he is now, to then get back to that player in our heads. And personally, I don't see it. Like he seems like a decent lad and everything else, but in terms of a player perspective, there is lots of other opportunities for other people, whether they're with us right now or not. And I don't see it being a benefit really for Everton. Massive benefit for Dele Alli. I mean, like Blue said, you know, pull Blues up there. Don't mind a Dele Alli if it's 30k a week. He's not going to be on 30k a week. Not a chance. You can't imagine it. I think it should be even less. I think it should be a pay as you play sort of thing. And Spurs won't have that because he's still an asset. So you've got two sides of it. I tell you what, if we didn't give him a contract and he went back to Spurs, do you think they would? Do you think he'd be any part of their squad to come back? And
do you know what? Some
they'll
Spurs
let him go. They'll let him go like that.
Yeah, he'll be out on loan.
What about if they let him go and he smashes it? Because I've got a feeling he's on the verge of being back. I think he come out with the mental health thing. I think he's had a proper look at himself. I mean, I think he was in denial personally. I think he had that many like issues and stuff like that he needed to sort out. That he just didn't know where he was, and he just wasn't completely locked down on football, which you have to be if you're a professional footballer. I'd like to think now that he's come back and he's hungry to. Do you know, if you play like me, if I haven't played football for a very long time, I bet he's hungry to play now. And I bet you what he said he wants to get in the England squad. Don't think that'll happen, but I bet he's hungry to prove himself. And if he is going to come back, sensational. Like, for example, when this is a stupid example, Lingard went to West Ham and smashed it on that loan. If Dele Alli is coming back with that sort of football just for one season this season, I want to be part of that. I don't know.
But that's the thing with Lingard. Jesse Lingard plays for Jesse Lingard.
Yeah.
He doesn't play for West Ham. He doesn't play for Man United. He plays for Jesse Lingard FC. And that's what he's about. I mean, that's why he's not playing in the Premier League now. That's why is he in Saudi Arabia or somewhere like that? Because he's gone for the brand, he's gone for the money, he's gone for the, you know, the bright lights and stuff like that. And basically saying, well, listen, I can go and get an Instagram with a £500,000 Maserati if I want to. Do you know what I mean? Just because I can, because I'm Jay Lynn's or whatever the fucking hell celebration he used to do. Do you know what I mean? But I think with Dele Alli, yes, if there probably is that opportunity. But to me, the way he's been over the last 5, 6, 7 seasons, not just including the time he's with Everton, he's not looked interested in football. Yeah, it could be down to mental health and things like that, but he's genuinely checked out of football for like the last 6, 7 years. That's a lot of time away from the game to get yourself back in, especially when he came in from NK Dons and he was a breath of fresh air. He was, you know, he was just that hungry young kid who was there to impress, and like you say, he was being, you know, championed going to Real Madrid in the next few seasons and stuff like that. I think that pressure was just too much for him in the end, and that's ultimately where it's led him. It's led him down the wrong path, and he's just almost feels like he was checked out of Togger. It's just not interested at all. And it would be interesting to see if he can revitalise his career. If he does it at Everton, great. It's to Everton's benefit. But if it doesn't, it's a massive, massive backfire on Everton. And I think there's a lot of pros and cons, and the cons outweigh the pros at the moment with Dele Alli, because of not just the time that he was at Everton, but even his periods when he was under Mourinho, under one of the best managers in the world in Mourinho at Spurs, and was still flattering to deceive at times. So it's a big deal. It's a big ask for Everton. It's a big question mark over Kevin Thelwell. Like, do you think you've got it in you to do it? That could be the case for Everton, but furthermore, has Dele Alli got that hunger to wear this shirt? We're giving the lad a lot more faith than than we should be giving him credit for. We're putting a lot of faith in him, and he's got to do it. It's got to be on him. And if he can't do it through mental health, or his head's not right, then that could backfire seriously on Everton. Personally,
you're bang on, because it is. You're right. Listen to what you're saying there. It's completely blind faith as well, because we've got nothing to say that he's going to do well. Like you said, he has been in football for a very long time. So we're trusting him with nothing on his CV in the last how many years, and we're trusting him thinking he can go and do it. It's a big risk, and I mean, we've already spoke about him longer than what I wanted to on this topic. That shows how much of a risk this is. We all like that Rocky comeback, don't we? And I've got the Rocky comeback in my head, and I am that idiot that probably thinks, you know what, give him a chance. But we'll vote on this. I'm going to go for Dele Alli's comeback. And a little part of this is because if Calvert-Lewin does leave, Dele Alli's not a striker, but Dele Alli gives you the option of probably playing 4-3-3 without a striker. And I watched Spain play with Morata in midfield all tournament and win the Euros without a striker. So I like the option of Dele Alli. I get it if the deal's right. Dave, what are you going for, mate? I think I know the answer. I'm saying keep him for a
Not
season.
for me.
Good deal.
Not for me.
No?
I've been on that fence for like the last few weeks, but I think I've just talked myself out of it. Even just now, in the last few minutes, I've just talked myself out of it. I don't think we should. I think there's players out there that are hungrier, more determined, are beyond less of a wage, and will be less of a fucking head case, and to have around the club. You know what I mean? We've got one knobhead in Neil Maupay. I don't need the second one in Dele Alli.
Well, we've got him on the list. We've got him next, actually.
Well, yeah, put him on the bus with Dele Alli.
He's on the next one. Paul, to be fair, Paul, this is why I said I like this, because we're all going to say probably different stuff. We're going to be true to ourselves. Paul, I think I know what you're going for with your speech earlier on.
Well, from an admirable, from a personal, from a caring sort of side, Everton have been fantastic and will continue to be fantastic for Dele Alli. However, from a footballing decision, it's going to be a no. Because like Dave said there, it's if it was Neil Maupay who'd gone through what, or someone who pisses off, if it was them who'd gone through sort of the last 2 years of not having played and not giving us anything, would we be having this conversation right now? Do you know what I mean? It's because we like the lad and everything else, but from purely football viewpoint, it doesn't make any sense. So I'd say no.
It probably is the Dele Alli song and the Tottenham highlights probably luring us towards that. We'll get that back. So Dele Alli, 2-1 on that. Keep your comments on as well. Dele Alli is a free agent, by the way. there's nothing to suggest that he can carry on at Spurs wages. 3, right? Maupay. Neil Maupay. You spoke about him, Dave, already. It's like you knew he was next on the list. Well, I mean, we'll be quicker on these. Dele Alli, I felt, was always going to be a big topic. I feel like that's the few, like, yes, no, the divide. It is a proper 50-50. But Neil Maupay, I think this might be a quick one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll chuck it on you first, Dave, this time, then Paul, then me.
You know what, with Maupay, I just think with Everton, you know, he was brought in last minute as a £15 million deal because we couldn't get thingy from Chelsea, and he ended up going to Italy because his bird wouldn't let him come up to Liverpool. Olivier Giroud wasn't he? We were trying to get him from Chelsea, and the deal fell through. And the last minute we've gone, okay, well, listen, we need to throw 15 million at Bournemouth, at Brentford at Brighton for Neil Maupay. And you know, that I think what we were expecting there was this little Alas. And what we've got is effectively the French John Spencer. Do you know what I mean? We got a player there who you know, when he was at Brighton, he was a narc, he got goals, he was tricky, he was in your face, and we just got this little bellend who just didn't really want to be at Everton. And like I say, it's the French equivalent of John Spencer. You know, he was that kind of player who, again, was that kind of player, scored goals, was great for Chelsea. Comes to Everton and, you know, is in a system that is ineffective to him. We're trying to play, you know, we're trying to play long balls to someone who's 5'6", and it just didn't work for him. And that's probably a bit of Everton as well as Maupay. You know, I think his attitude probably didn't help when he went out on loan to Brentford, but he found a place where he was scoring goals. You know, I've spoken with sorry to name drop, I've spoken with Natalie Sawyer, who's a Brentford fan, and she's even said, like, you know, Maupay is literally God at Brentford, and they love him. And you know, when he came back to Brentford, she was buzzing because he's near enough their leading goal scorer of all time. Do you know what I mean? So to have him back was great for the Brentford fans, but you know, I just don't think he suited Everton's style of play, particularly the way Lampard wanted us to play, particularly when we're trying to play a lone striker and then play high balls over the midfield and playing against Grock centre halves. We weren't giving him that opportunity, I don't think. But I think whether he comes back and all of a sudden, you know, he's willing to put in the hard yards again. It's a Dele Alli situation, isn't it? You know, does he come back and, you know, tail between his legs? Listen, it didn't work for me. Maybe I do need to go somewhere else, or I'm ready to knuckle down and go for it at Everton. I'm still under contract for another 2 seasons. You know, either loan me out or play me. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I think if there's an opportunity for us there was an opportunity last season to send them back to his club in Italy. And if that's still an option, I think we should be looking at that as a potential. But you know, it's at a time where Everton still need bodies, irrespective of whether we've.
That's what I was
or not. We've always been lacking in a strike force. You know, Calvert-Lewin wasn't hitting the heights. Beto and Chimiti were very raw. Maybe given an opportunity, he might just flourish in a 2 up there with a target man. We just don't know. I think time will tell with Maupay. I think Dyche has brought him back, and he's got to give him the opportunity, but he's got to try and see what he can do with him first.
I was just going to say the Calvert-Lewin things that massively scares me with this. I mean, Paul, I'll ask you what you think on him now, and I'll say it as well, what I think on him, and then we'll give our verdict whether we want him to stay or go. Well, I think I know what you're going to say, Paul, because we had a lot of moans about him, didn't we, on the channel?
I did. I did.
You don't forget.
Yeah. No. I love this John Spencer shout. That's class, that, to be fair. But I mean, he is. What does he give you? What does he give you? Do you know what I mean? He scored, was it 1 goal for us? I didn't think he particularly worked hard. It felt as though he was a kid playing with men. When you watched him on the pitch, he didn't move very much, or couldn't get across the pitch to to be part of this sort of Dyche defensive unit. I mean, are you telling me that the way that we play at the moment, Mopé is going to be prevalent in the area? It's just going to be like that. There's there's just not going to be the opportunities for him to actually get on the ball, and two, win the ball. Certainly not in the air. There's just
with the
that's it.
With the service that we provide, it doesn't work. It doesn't suit this team that wants to get on the wings and play the ball in from literally the corner flag the way we play. Do you know what I mean? And that's not his style. Is on the shoulder of the last man, trying to get a through ball and trying to get that run. But there's been those chances where he did it at Brentford, where he was 1-on-1 with the keeper and stopped. I think it was against Chelsea, and I think he bust a gut for like 25-30 yards to get there, and the centre half caught him, and it was like, this is exactly what we're talking about with him. This is why we're screaming at him, saying you're shite lad, because you have been that bad. You know, and he's. I think he's just not an Everton player for me. And
he did it against someone had a debate with me on Twitter. I mean, there was talking about it. I put topics up on the Toffee Bluecast Twitter, and I can remember him being shit that Fulham game when we played Fulham the first time. And I went back and watched the Fulham highlights, and he was 1-on-1 with the keeper a metre away to score, and he hit it straight at the keeper. Mm-hmm. I remembered it all come back of having him, and I wanted him gone so bad, and he was so much of a problem. And for me, when I found out Brentford had the option to buy, I was so happy because I thought, yes, he's doing well. This is guaranteed. He's going to go to them. I was really, really happy. I thought we've dodged the bullet finally. Then Brentford didn't trigger that, which really frustrated me. And I thought he'd gone, and I'm gutted because I'm telling you something. Some Everton fans have got fish memory because they say, "Oh, bring him back now. Play him like Brentford played him." He was on the bench a lot, Brentford, and he was a shit ass. Brentford can pass the ball a lot better than what we can. So he got the ball in the positions that he likes. Brentford suits him, to be fair. Yeah. He doesn't suit us. He really doesn't suit us. And even if Calvert-Lewin goes, for me, I would not say he's the answer. I would 1 billion% play Shamiti over him 1 billion times over, because Shamiti, for me, I'd be a lot more excited to watch Shamiti see what he can do and see what Mopé can do.
Yeah. I think when you know, obviously we bombed Mopé off to Brentford, and then all of a sudden they bought Igor Thiago for 30 million. So the writing was on the wall for him from that moment on anyway. You know, there was absolutely no chance of him being, you know, there's no way they were going to, unless they sold Tony for 60 odd million, there was no way that they were going to go, okay, well, we'll give Everton 10 million for Neil Maupay. Now they've got Thiago and they've got Ivan Toney. So they really don't need Neil Maupay, no matter what. You know what I mean? It's not like he's, oh, well, we'll have him as a backup striker. They don't need him. They literally don't. They can play Tony as a 1, they can play Thiago as a 1, or they can play them as a 2. But there's no room for Neil Maupay. And even when you look at that Everton side, exactly like you're saying there, he suddenly becomes, even with, if Calvert-Lewin goes, he's behind Beto, he's behind Shamiti, he's your third choice striker. And then even then, if you're looking at it, Dele Alli, you know, he's in front of Dele. He probably wouldn't get in front of Dele Alli if Ali is fit and available.
That's why I did keep Dele Alli. I just want to say, I mean, you two.
So your choice is now to keep Dele Alli just for the sake of getting rid of Neil Maupay. It's a good deal.
I tell you, well, I think Dele Alli, I could see him in those just arriving late in the box position, scoring those goals from Tottenham. I am that muppet that can see Dele Alli reviving his career, and that's why I chose Dele Alli, because I think Dele Alli's still got a cracking shot on him. He's still got a cracking sense for goal, and I'm sure with this pre-season, Dyche will get him fit. If he's still got that finishing ability and Dyche frigging bleep tests him up and gets Dele Alli ready, I think he can be used in that Mopé position. I 100% would rather play Dele over Mopé. 100%. That's why I chose Dele. On this then, let's do this then. I don't know who would buy him. We're not going to talk about this because we've got so many people to talk about. We're not going to talk about who would buy him because that would take about 10 minutes to try and find a team who's going to buy him. But Dave, what are you going for? Selling him, yeah.
Get him gone. Get him gone. And if it means, we get money in for, that works to get as a winger, to get, goes towards the non-toe deal, whatever we need. If it helps with PSR, all the better. I think we need to try and recoup as much as that £15 million that we spent on him.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't think we're getting the 15 back, but I'd snap your hands up at 10 now. Paul, what's your verdict? You keeping him?
No. I just
makes it all.
No, exactly. Yeah. No, I mean, from his point of view, it would be a PR comeback of Lazarus kind of sizings. To be honest, it's just from his point of view, I can't see him winning the fans back over, whether he'd want to or not. Do you know what I mean? Because he's burnt a few bridges in that way. Mm-hmm. He's literally half the player that Schmitti is.
Yeah.
So, he's not. I don't see him doing very much for us at all. And I think he's here maybe for part of his pre-season, and then he'll be gone before the transfer window ends. If he's still with us, I would be shocked whether he played a part. I honestly would. So it's no for me. If that wasn't clear, it was no from me.
Keep your comments coming, Emma, but the Blues, get involved. Anyone else comes on, get your comments on. With Mope, we don't really have much to say on the matter, do we? And he says, the Blues basically saying who's going to... I think French leagues would be interested in him. I still think score goals in the French. We always say who would buy him, but I think there's
always some idiot.
Yeah, there is some idiot.
But the thing is, though,
there'll be a championship side that'll take him.
The only thing is, though, anyway, if he wasn't at Everton, we'd be that idiot.
we were.
We did, but exactly. But what we thought we were getting, then we end up with the French John Spencer. So it's
probably go to Ipswich and absolutely smash it. And score 20 goals again, and then eventually everyone will say it's Everton that's cursed him. But no, I wouldn't be interested in him. Right, on to the next one. And this is someone that's gone really silent, but I'm trying to cover everything here, and we're going to blast through. We are going to get quicker, but there's just so much to say on him. Michael Keane, nothing's been said on Michael Keane. It's like he's just stepped back and said, you know what, I'm going to let you talk about everyone else, and I'm going to be the silent guy here and not talk about like I'm a problem, even though I didn't get played much towards the end of last season. I didn't look like Everton needed me, but yet no one speaks about Michael Keane. What's your thoughts?
Can we dye his hair blonde, call him Branthwaite, and send him down the 62?
I would do that with you. I'm game for teaming up. It's a good idea.
I think with Michael Keane's problem is Michael Keane. It's not an Everton problem. It's not a coaching problem. It's all in Michael Keane's head. You look at the period where he was under Ancelotti, and he had that knock on the head. And after that knock on the head, he was like prime Baresi. He was absolutely superb. There was opportunities there where he was potentially looking at an England call up, and he was head and shoulders above everybody as a centre half, and particularly at Everton. He was keeping. He was just doing the right things, and I think the manager switches, the period of uncertainty with Everton just in general, and the pressure has probably just got to Keane. But there's I will always look at Michael Keane as that goal at Palace. Do you know what I mean? That much like we said about Dele Alli before, he was instrumental in that second half against Crystal Palace. People forget about Michael Keane's goal. Everyone talks about Richarlison's or TCL's header. Michael Keane started that. He started that with that goal, and it was superb. And then you look at the goals that he's capable of scoring. The goal at Tottenham, the goal against Tottenham, took the roof off. Absolutely blew the roof off Goodison. We hadn't had atmospheres like that in a long time. And when Dice played him, I forget what game it was now, but he played him up top, and everyone went, fucking hell, he's playing Michael Keane up front. What's going on? Is he going to start doing it? Is he going to start banging goals? But I think with Keane, it's in Michael Keane's head. He like you just said, still the best finisher in the club, quite possibly. I think if we're gonna, he's the only
It's funny, Dave, how you just spoke about a lot of Michael Keane's moments, which I completely agree with you. But it's funny how a lot of those moments was like you talking about a striker.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. None of these are defensive. Yeah, that's it. But that's what I'm saying. Even when he was under Ancelotti, we were keeping clean sheets. He was even scoring goals. But he was just a solid defender, and he always has been. And I think it's like you say, it's in Michael Keane's head. It's all on Michael Keane to get himself in order. I think for the money that we paid, it was close to 20 odd million, wasn't it, or more? I don't think we've got the player that we thought we were going to get. He was on the cusp of England when he was at Burnley at the time. We actually thought he might have flourished a bit more coming back under Sean Dyche. Unfortunately, it hasn't quite happened for him. He's found himself third and fourth choice behind, Ben Godfrey, obviously Tarkowski and Branthwaite, even Mason Holgate to some extent. He's not been played in any kind of long-term centre-half pairing. He's always been, okay, well, someone's injured, I'm going to have to throw Keane in. And that's just the way Keane has been now. The one thing I will respect him for, though, is he's not rocked the boat. He's not gone, what the fuck's going on? Why aren't I playing? I think he's known his place, and he's probably picking up a tidy wedge that he's not going to get anywhere else but at Everton. But he's not upset that, and he's gone, listen, I'll play. I'm going to fucking work hard, and I'll do what is called of me. And if I score goals and everyone calls me the next fucking Dixie Dean, then all the better. But I think with Michael Keane now, we're at that period where we've sold Ben Godfrey. We've only got one additional centre half, and that's Michael Keane, unfortunately. So I think he has to stay unless someone else comes in. And I know you're going to talk about that yourself a little later on. But for me, I think if Keane left tomorrow, he leaves with no ill wishes from me. Best of luck to him. Go revitalise your career somewhere else. But if we kept him, I wouldn't lose sleep if we did, because I think he still has plenty to offer Everton.
This is why I love this, because we've got different like opinions on. I mean, I'll drop mine on Michael Keane now. I agree with a lot of you say. He has done a lot of good stuff, and we probably wouldn't. He's played a big part on us staying up for 2 seasons. He has scored some vital goals, especially on that draw one I've got in my head as well. But I think he needs to go. I think this is the perfect time. I think Michael Keane will want to play. I still think he's got something to offer to some teams. I mean, he can handle just about keeping a team in the Premier League for me. He'd probably do really well in the Championship as probably a striker or a centre-back. He'd do really well. Probably in a slower league do well as well. He can handle it, Keane can, I think, in a different league to the Premier League that's so intense. So I'd like for him to just have a fresh start himself. I think he needs it himself. I'd love for Keane to move on. I think it'd be good for him. He needs a thing. It hasn't worked for him that much at Everton. It might be good for him to make the move. I just want him to go now. I think we're starting to rebuild. We keep talking about rebuild, and this is the perfect time now for me. Godfrey's gone. Add Michael Keane, and we have got Holgate on the list that we're going to talk about in a minute as well. So I think it's the perfect time to bring a good centre-back in now and just have Branthwaite, Tarkowski, and a really good centre-back to compete against them. And you don't mind which of the 3 play. Because when Keane plays, it does scare me. It really does. That's my verdict on Keane. I'm going to ask you, Paul, what yours is, and I'm going to say whether we want him in or out.
I'm a little torn, not that because I think he's amazing, and Dave's spot on. He's been a decent servant for us since we got in 2017. So he's been with us a good while, and he's gone through everything that we've gone through in terms of having to battle the relegation and everything else, and the good times like through, like say, Ancelotti and stuff like that, where he thrived. Because he just needs a good man manager. So he's been through a few, and he's played better for the ones who have actually put their arm around his shoulder and sort of put him at the head of the game. But when Tarkowski comes in and then Branthwaite emerges, he knows then, or we know. I mean, I'm not literally speaking to him, so but we know that he's not going to be first choice. So, like Dave said, it's brilliant, great professional, works hard, has stepped in when needed. Is he going to be? Is he going to take us forward? No. Is he going to be a squad player? Yes. He's got 1 year left on his contract. His contract's up next summer. So, in that respect, do you sell him and use the money for someone else? It wouldn't be a lot of money. If you got 10, I think you'd have done well. So it's about who you can get. Keane might be one of the ones that you see going out, but at the end, when you've got someone else in, when maybe you've got another prospect, not like Branthwaite because he's head and shoulders, but if Thelwell identifies someone and that deal goes through, then Keane could maybe go and change, change position.
We have got transfers possible at incomings at the end, and there is one centre back on that list. Dave, you was nice to Michael Keane there, Dave. You was really nice to him, wasn't it? And Paul agreed. It's probably just sometimes some players do get on my tits, and Michael Keane has been one of them at times, and I don't forget it. Are you keeping him, Dave?
I'm still keen on Keane, but I do want to point something out there, Dan, because you did mention that whenever you've watched him, you've gone, oh, and the groans and the moans, and you hear that around the ground. The second he comes on the pitch, he was at his best when there was no one in the stadium. And that speaks volumes of his mentality. I think once we've all come back and we've all been like, well, we've been away for so long from Goodison Park, I've got a lot to say in the ground. You know what I mean? And I'm going to spit my vitriol at whoever doesn't play well enough for me. And that is literally how Michael Keane has been probably unfairly treated. I don't know. Dave,
do you think we baby him though? Because we baby our players. I mean, we've seen Keane and we've tried to get behind him loads of times, and we've been against him a lot as well, like you've just said. But we've seen Keane struggle. Branthwaite's come in and said, "I don't care whether you look like me or not. I'm going to be the dog's bollocks," and you can't moan about him. Why can't Michael Keane do that? He's had the chance there for so long. He shouldn't be scared. I get what you're saying, though. There is a player in him, and he looks like the nerves get to him sometimes. And when he's not nervous, he seems to be a good player. But he does get nervous a lot. And should we baby players?
That's it. I think we like it. But then completely take that back to the beginning about Dele Alli. Are we soft touch FC?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
That, and do you let your heart rule your head? Do you go, listen, thanks for your time. Here's a framed picture of a Spitfire and show them the door. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those. It's like, do you go, well, hang on, we've only got two centre halves here. We need to back up, unless someone is willing to come into Everton and be that backup.
He's on the list. We'll talk about him in a minute.
But is that player willing to come and play third string to Tarky and Branthwaite? And the question probably for some of them will be no, whereas Michael Keane will be, yeah, okay, I've got a season left. Let's see where it all lies at the end of the season. So yeah, I would continue with Michael Keane. If a club comes in for him, I think we should react to it and take what we can for it. But if no one comes in, then he's a useful addition to the squad.
He's definitely nervous because he's actually his friend at this level. The ability and doesn't need to be nervous. Go on, Paul.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, our defence last season basically played almost every game. Do you know what I mean? So there were very few opportunities for anyone, regardless of whoever, to sort of play in front of Branthwaite or Tarkowski because they were always playing, and we played very well anyway. So even if it was someone who was better than Michael Keane, they probably still wouldn't have got a chance anyway. But if you say, like you say, Godfrey's gone, say someone else came in, so you end up with sort of 4 centre backs, if you like, because that's generally what you tend to have in your squad, at least. So would you have Michael Keane as your 4th choice centre back? Because I would, because he's experienced.
Yeah,
he's been with us a long time, and he knows sort of Dyche inside out and all the workings behind and training. And it would be not one of those. I'm a bit Roy Keane, good man to have around the place. Sure. That's probably been a little bit of our problem, but in terms of a fourth choice centre back, that wouldn't be too bad. So I'd keep him, but knowing he's going to end up running his contract down. If there was one or two potential replacements that came through, so you end up with 5 or 6 centre backs, that's when I would say, go on, Keane, go and smash it in the Championship and get a team promoted. Do you know what I mean? But third or fourth, ideally. If he's going to be third choice, we need someone else above him, I think.
This is why we do these shows, because you probably wouldn't have expected Michael Keane. Well, it's just open, isn't it, how you feel about him. I mean, you two make really good points, because you are basically, you got me a little bit there where you said, what other centre back is going to just sit on the bench? They're going to want to play, and normally you're not going to get a good standard centre back that's just going to want to sit on the bench. Otherwise, he'd be wanted to leave next season. So you've got someone keen that's happily to come in, fill the space. I don't know now. Dave said he's keeping him. Paul said he's keeping him, and I wanted him gone. But now you're making me think: do we need to? No, I'm sticking with him. He's gone for me. I'm sorry, Kip. Michael Keane. I love you, but I'm standing my ground, because I have got a centre back lined up that's that good that he's going to proper beat up Tarkis and Bradway's arse. So Michael Keane, Patterson, this will be a quick one, because I've only put this on as just keep him, or just we don't even need to talk about him that much, do we, Patterson? What's your thoughts, Dave?
He's third choice right back behind the two right backs there with an combined age of 78. He's just got to stay injury free, and if he can stay injury free, get in form, then yeah, I think he's very raw. I think there's no reason why we should be looking to sell him unless someone else is available. But I think, Patterson's got a lot to learn of this league. It's a big step up from the Scottish Premier League, and I think he's realised that. It's on him though. It really is on him to shape up, because I don't think he's a young lad, and that's all I can really say about him. He's very raw. He's got to probably just get it. I don't know. I'm not looking to sell him, but I think he's got a lot to do, and especially if he's ended up being behind Seamus Coleman and Ashley Young.
No, you make a good point. I have noticed he's got a little bit of stubble beard hair now, so he does look like about 2 years onto himself coming back this pre-season, which gets me excited. I've seen him on the Still Ryan videos. He's got the goat now, and he has got long Scottish hair coming down. I don't know if you've seen that video on Patterson. Well, he looks good with his long hair to his shoulders as well. Paul, what do you think of Patterson? We'll try and blast through these.
I think Patterson's one of those players we want to do well, because he came to us bought with potential, and everyone wants to see someone who's bought with potential thrive, like we have done a few times in the past. He's had injury problems. He's not been liked by managers. He's not been high quality when he's had an opportunity, but it's not been opportunities for a very long time. Do you know what I mean? It's been one game here, and then he gets slated for something, and then he doesn't play again for another 10 games or something like that. And he's behind, weirdly, he's behind one of the players who we like the least in terms of ability, and the person who is above everyone else in terms of how much they're respected and loved at the club at the moment in terms of other players. So he's on a bit of a hide into nothing at the moment.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see now, I'm presuming that he's fully fit, that he can get a pre-season, and then we'll see, because it can't be a worse season, if you like, for him, but you can get an improvement. It's the same Michael Keane thing. If someone else came in that you would have taken over from Seamus over the next year gradually, and then they become the right back next year, whenever, then you'd think about it. Everything Everton says, loan him out. It's not the worst idea in the world.
That's what Paul. That's what I
He's
was
been
going to
with us
say.
though for,
Loan or
he's been
keep.
with us for 3 or 4 years now, and he's not really come through in the way that most of us would have wanted him to have done.
I could say loan.
Massive, you know. This preseason,
I could say loan him out, but I couldn't do another season of Ashley Young and Seamus Coleman at right back. I couldn't. I don't think my heart could take it, especially not the last season at Goodison. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's,
no,
not for me. I think he's got to step up this season. This is his season now, and he's got to take it with both hands.
Yeah, that was. I was just going to say that was going to be my thing, Paul. Like, what are we saying when I ask you your verdict? Will it be loan or will it be? Do you want him to get like stuck in this season and play?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just say my thing on Patterson quick before I ask you both this, and then we'll move on to the next player. There's no one that I want to succeed more than Patterson, you know, because he's the best character. You can see everyone thinks he's an idiot, which shows he's the biggest character. He's got the best song. If you're looking for a right back, we've got a glad DJ and Nathan. But that's the best song, I think. I want to sing that. I want him running down that right frigging hand side, smashing everyone up. He's shown, I think it was like the first relegation battle under Lampard. He's shown he was probably better than Mikalenko at that time. We were saying Patterson's the one in the derby. I can remember him smashing Nunes and us all saying Patterson, the picture where he's pumping. I was thinking Patterson is a player. So there is a player there. They've got to get it out of him now, though. He's not young anymore. He hasn't got that excuse he's a baby anymore. He's the age now where he's got no excuses. And I can keep him. And this is the season where you say, Patterson, you've got to show something now. Otherwise, you've got no excuses. And I'm saying I want him to stay and I want him to succeed. I don't want him to go out on loan. Dave, do you want him to go out on loan or do you want him to?
No, I want him to prove that he's better than these two aging right backs that we've got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not last chance saloon for him, but there's going to be question marks come January if he is still behind Ashley Young and Seamus Coleman at that point.
100%. Paul, what's your loan or keep him?
Yeah, no, because he's been with us for so long, I don't think loan would only accentuate a deal further down the line. It would be loan to someone with a view to buy. Do you know what I mean? The thing is about right back is that how many people have played right back for us? A ton of centre backs have played right back for us.
Yeah. So
it's a position there that's crying out for someone to make it their own, like Mikalenko came in and eventually made it his own. So I would, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't sell him. I don't think
we are keeping him.
Get a good pre-season, and this is like Dave said. This is his chance to shine, really.
All right, so Patterson we're keeping. Now on to the next one. We are going to blast through. So we've got a load to talk about. We are going to get quicker. We should have done freaking shows on these. We've left it all to go. Holgate. Now,
see ya. Next. We're all in agreement with it. He's not the player he was, and he's not going to be the player we want him to be. He's not. I'll just offload him as quickly as humanly possible.
The question is, I'm presuming we're all, Paul, you're on the Holgate out. You don't want Holgate to stay, do you, Paul? Yeah.
No.
The question is, like, how do we get rid of him? Because we've sent him, teams are sending him back from the Championship.
That's it.
How do we get rid of him? That's the problem.
It's that wage. It's that wage that he's on like 60, 70 grand a week. I mean, and he's not going to be in too much of a hurry to leave Everton because he's not going to get that money anywhere else. Like Michael Keane isn't going to get that kind of money anywhere else he goes. So these are going to be players here who, yes, ourselves, everyone who's watching, whatever, will all be like, yeah, get rid of him. It's that wage. It's just going to kill him. It's going to kill us now. There won't be a single club that will say we'll pay all his wages unless there is someone stupid enough in Saudi Arabia who's I've heard that Mason Holgate, he's all right, and he's a good tough tackling centre half, can play it right back. Just go, mate. But it's clear in that wage bill is going to be the sticking point for any club who wants to sign him.
I would happily pay his full wage just to loan him out, and I know or half. I mean, that's stupid because you wouldn't want to pay full wage because I would, yeah. But if you can pay half his wage and just say to yourself, right, I'm not paying his full wage. He would have been nowhere near the squad, and we'd be paying his full wage. At least now we're only paying half his wage, and just accept that we have massively messed up with him. If you can't get rid of him,
it's mad though because at one point he was exceptional as a centre half.
Like him then, I know he was, and a lot of Everton fans loved him, but I always said I knew straight away I didn't rate him and I didn't like him, and he had that really good patch that made everyone like him, and I thought that's not going to last. That isn't going to last.
It wasn't.
It wasn't as good as people was making out. He can't even head the ball. Can't tackle.
Ever since he pushed Bobby Firmino into the stand, that was it for him. And that whole I'm not trying to be horrible with the whole stuff with like the whole race thing and that was going on, and that rumbled on and on and on, and that was clearly I don't know the outcome of it, but that was really that was sort of his demise. That was where things started to go a little bit wrong for him because he was playing really, really well. The derby there, he got absolutely slaughtered throughout it, and when that finally happened, when that did happen, unfortunately, I think that was the turning point with him, and it's not been the same since.
The Sheffield United family.
Yeah. And if he doesn't go, I was going to say, if he's got 1 year left on his contract as well, so it makes sense. Otherwise, he's going to be a tossing, and he's just going to stay doing nothing for the club, really. So it makes sense for everyone, including the lad. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He needs a new start somewhere else, definitely.
Yeah, definitely that.
Yeah, so we're all saying Holgate out. We're just praying that Farewell can work some magic. I mean, I'd completely take Jamie's deal. I think that's a cracking deal. I mean, Farewell should snap his hands at that. Holgate, I'd take a twin pack of Holgate at the minute for him. Definitely would be on that. I think that's probably too much of a good deal, isn't it, for Holgate? I could take a single.
It probably is, yeah.
Right, we're talking about silent topics. Then we're going to move on to the bigger topics. And then we're going to move on to possible signings. We're trying to blast through this quick. It's going to be a Beto, right? Beto was the subject. And then we are going to, after Beto, we're going to talk about Onana, Calvert-Lewin, and Miko. Talks of them possibly leaving. So we're going to cover that. But Beto, I've heard today that he is smashing goals in by one of the journalists that's gone down to watch him and says he looks really sharp. I'm massively behind Beto. I want him to succeed. I think Beto's good. So what's your thoughts on Beto? We'll try and keep it quick. What's your thoughts, Dave?
He runs like he's wearing jeans. That's the one thing I notice about him. He's got that kind of, he looks like he's got pace, but he looks like he's wearing wet jeans when he runs because he's cumbersome. I think we bought him in that period there, and when he came on against Doncaster, you thought, oh, hang on, finally we got someone who can unlock defences there, and then we realised it was Doncaster. But I think with Beto, I think he needs that pre-season. He needs that period now where he beds in properly. He's never had that opportunity. Every time he's had to come on, all right, mate, you're going to have, Calvert-Lewin's just ran the defenders ragged, go and do something. And he'll go and get booked, or he'll do something stupid. And sometimes you just think, ugh. But then you think, well, he hasn't had a full season under Everton. I think this period now with Jimmy, I think he's worked like a good friendship with Jimmy, which is brilliant. And I like that. I like that. Obviously, both being Portuguese has helped them. I think there's an opportunity there for Beto to go, okay, well, listen, I can start scoring goals. But then you said you're scoring goals in training. Who's you up against? Michael Keane?
But you two did say you were keeping Michael Keane, so it's quite good to I get what you're saying. They're just saying he does look sharper. I agree with you. He does run like you don't see it on TV. When you get to the ground, you see it a little bit more. When we all went to that, you watch him on TV, you just don't understand completely what the fans are on about. But then when you get to the stadium and watch him, you think sometimes, because he does look fast. When you watched him against Doncaster and he blasted through your foot powerhouse, we've got a beast here. And the header against the post, he was like, we've got a beast. Against Newcastle, that goal when we did 28 all A's and we just it's a better, he just powerhouse through. So he looks like he's got something.
But then there's times where he will do that, and rather than actually try and get past the defender, he'll fall into the defender and try and get a foul. Like, mate, fucking go. Come fucking bed. You're capable of doing it. So what's the problem? Why aren't you going there now and just going snotty? Instead, you're falling into the defender because you haven't got the confidence to do it, and that's what he lacks. I think he just lacks that little bit of self-belief, and hopefully, like you're saying, he's bagging them in there. He's working hard in training. Hopefully that's the case, and he gets a pre-season behind him. He plays against Sligo on Friday, and just keeps. Keeps building, because that's what he needs. He needs a good, solid pre-season. We bought him far end of the transfer window, and this is the season now that we've actually got to start paying for him. So he has to start, earning what we pay for him. We didn't pay anything that last season, which was great, but now it's got to be okay. Well, we paid for you now, mate. You go and do what you meant to do as a £25 million striker, but he's not a £25 million striker for me.
Yeah, I was just going to say on what you're saying, big fee, 25 million, and it's probably the best deal about, because we had nothing to spend, and there was no other deal about where a club's going to say, you don't need to pay us nothing. You can have him, you pay nothing for the first season. And that's probably a big part of the deal, but we can't get out of it now. We've got to pay 25 million. So I'm praying to God he comes to be an absolute incredible striker. I do like him. I am massively behind him. I think he can be good. The Moise Keane situation's in there. I don't know if you think back. Do you know when Moise Keane first come in? I'm not saying Moise Keane's good, by the way, people. I'm saying when Moise Keane first come in, I wanted to see what Moise Keane was like, but he never got played because Calvert-Lewin always had the spot, and Calvert-Lewin was always the number one, and Moise Keane just couldn't get in. He was always coming on. Calvert-Lewin was always better than him, and he just couldn't get settled to be our striker. And I feel like the same things happen with Beto. I think Beto's coming. It's no surprise when Beto comes in, Calvert-Lewin's fit, and Beto doesn't get like, you're the main man sort of thing. That's the problem. I think if Calvert-Lewin did leave and Beto's the main man, and he was your main striker, and we're saying you're the man, it could be quite good. Paul, I'm going to chuck this on you now, Beto. I'm not sure what you think on Beto. I am a little bit, but I know you think he probably runs in jeans like Dave's just said.
Oh yeah, I mean that's bob on. To be fair, he plays as though he's playing with a really, really tiny football, and he struggles to get his foot on it.
Yeah.
I think it was Sheffield United. I can't remember if it was Burnley or Sheffield United. Goes through like Blue said. He has got a half decent top speed, right? But his problem is his balance, and he can't get control of the ball when he's running with it. The reason that the Newcastle goal after all the Olays went well is because he knocked it about 20, 30 yards in front of him and barged with the defender, and then the next one was his shot. So I've no confidence at all in his physical coordination. Do you know what I mean? If I was teaching him PE, I'd work on his coordination all day, because he's just all over the place. In fact, in some ways, he moves like Decore does when Decore doesn't have control of the ball, like he's playing with a tiny ball.
Bambi on ice.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But the difference is Decore's got a better percentage, a better record of things paying off for him, and also is involved in the ball more. When the ball bounces off Beto, he doesn't get control. He doesn't look very confident with it. That's where he is at the moment. And so it would be a turnaround. It would be a turnaround if then suddenly he comes out at the start of this season, coming and he's got great balance and looks assured and everything else moving around like, say, DCL would do. But I can't see it happen. However, they're not gonna admit that this deal has been or could be awful. Do you know what I mean? Paying that much for him they're going to see it through to the bloody end, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only if someone amazing comes in for a cut price, then that's the only way that he would go.
Was you surprised? I mean, we're going to cut off on a different player now, but was you surprised they said Mourinho was interested in him? I think that was the big. They said Mourinho wanted Beto. Do you think that was bullshit or was it true? Some people might like Beto. I don't know. They might see him as.
I think that's more the Portuguese factor than anything.
Yeah.
And I think where, I mean, Besiktas and Fenerbahce, they're the absolute grifters of the footballing world, aren't they? Absolutely grifter. Well, can we have him on loan? And then can we have him on loan again? Oh, his contract's up, is it? Oh, we'll take him off your hands for a little bit. And it's like, what the fuck? Absolute grifters, man. Horrible. So
that's where Mopay will go. Mopay will go end up going Turkey, won't he?
Go for my lesson, then the grift all you like, because he's a fucking grifter anyway.
Yeah. And the thing is, as well, I think what we're saying as well, we're not slagging him off personally, Beto. We're just saying from a footballing perspective, at the moment, we've not seen what we want to see in a £25+ million player.
Mm-hmm. No, and especially then, if he's not getting in, if he's not getting in ahead of a Dominic Calvert-Lewin who didn't score for like 15 games, then that says more about Beto than it does about Everton. That means that he's not been showing enough to give Dyche a striker headache, and Calvert-Lewin he's actually had to play Calvert-Lewin because Beto hasn't been doing what he wants him to do. So hopefully now pre-season now, we've got a good chance for him to get yourself bedded in and just forget about Calvert-Lewin. Don't even think that he's even in the room because he's checked out at the moment, which you'll probably come to in a sec. But Beto now has the opportunity with Schmidt to go, listen, mate, we can be the fucking two. We can be the number 1 and 2 in this fucking team here. Because one's already planning to check out. So let's make it our own. But it's on Beto. It's down to him to do it.
I completely agree with you. And I was thinking in my head yesterday, like, people speak like we haven't got no strikers. As soon as Calvert-Lewin's mentioned going, people act like we didn't sign Beto and we didn't sign Schmidt. We have signed Beto and he is our striker. Whether you like him or not, they've chosen him and said he's the man. Same with Schmidt as well. Could we get away without having a striker? Could Beto and Schmidt, do we need to buy a striker? Because I'm not even going to talk about this player, but I'm just going to say his name. I'm not interested in the brochure. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in Shea Adams. I'd rather just have Beto and Schmidt. And I also do think if this Iliman, who I am really excited about, could add a bit of creativity for the striker that could help Beto. Do you know what I mean? We've not had a number 10 that's that good, that's that creative, that can open things up for our strikers. So our strikers, for me, because we haven't had a good number 10, have struggled. If we get that number 10 position,
he's not even been mentioned. Same with Irabunum, hasn't been mentioned here at all. So, I mean, we've got 2 players here who we haven't seen really. Okay, we've probably seen Iliam and Jai more at Sheffield United than we did at, was it Lille? Did we got him from? I'm not even sure where we got him from. At Marseille, sorry. And even at Marseille, they were like, he wasn't that great. He wasn't probably didn't settle, which is fair enough. But talk to Sheffield United fans about him. It's the second coming of God. Do you know what I mean? It was like he was so good in that season that brought him out of the Championship.
It's better than Messi.
Is what, sorry?
It's better than Messi, I've heard.
Oh yeah, well, that's all that matters then, isn't it? 15 million pound Messi, brilliant. But you know what I mean? We haven't spoken about that. We haven't spoken about these players and where they're going to fit in. We even talked about Dele Alli there, where Njai is probably going to be your number 10. But then what does that do to Decore? What does that do to Dele Alli? Do you know what I mean? There's so many knock-ons and cause and effect of like, well, we brought this player in for this. Does that mean he's out the door and he suddenly becomes second string? And there's that many variables, but it's nice to have that selection headache. You know what I mean? And this is where having what we were saying there about having like Michael Keane in there, you've got a selection headache. If he comes in for an injured Brandtwaite or Tarkowski, and starts actually playing well, then you want that headache. You don't want to be thinking, shit, I've got no striker. Shit, I've got no centre half here. To have that selection headache for Sean Dyche is probably he's probably loving it at the moment. Like, finally, give me something that I can work with. Give me players that I can go, oh well, I can mould him. I can put him in place of him, rather than going, I'm gonna have to pull out I'm gonna have to play 3 goalkeepers on the bench because I've got no players. To have these selection headaches now is absolutely perfect for Sean Dyche.
That's what I was going to... I mean, Paul, can you get that to... We'll chuck it on the screen quickly. We are going to have to move on. We're going to finish this on an hour and a half. So we've got 20 minutes now. We was meant to do an hour, but there's just so much to talk about. Paul, can you put on the screen, like, let's just chuck an attackers on just for like a 2-minute tactical thing. If we sign... I mean, we're going to talk about Nonto at the minute because we're talking about possible things. But even without talking about Nonto, go 4-3-3. I'm not that scared of Calvert-Lewin leaving. I haven't got alarm bells saying get a striker in, because I'm thinking if you went 4-3-3 here and you put, if you just do the attackers, Paul, on the 4-3-3, could you play? I've still got Dele Alli, haven't I? So could you play, say, Beto, Dele Alli, and the new lad? Could you actually play that system, Paul? Do you think?
It's a tough one with your midfield, because then you're looking at, okay, well, who is your midfield? Are you playing a midfield 3, and is that then Jack Harrison, Dwight McNeil, and Idrissa Gana Gueye? And then if you look at it in that sense, that's very lightweight.
Yeah, well, this is what's doing me a little bit as well, is because if you did 4-3-3 and you did Doucouré, Gana Gueye, and James Garner as the 3 centre midfielders, then we've got no wingers. That's the problem, isn't it? But then could you play McNeil in the front 3 or Jack Harrison in the front 3?
Mm-hmm.
This is just my point I'm making now. There is a lot of options. Like we ain't even mentioned, we could play Jack Harrison as a front 3. We could play McNeil as the front 3. Nonto could possibly come in. We could play him as the front 3. Dele Alli, we could play him as the front 3. Kind of covers not having like Calvert-Lewin leaving a little bit, because then you just put better with them.
This is why I'm saying it's nice to have these selection headaches, and Dyche would probably become made up with it, that he actually now has, rather than having a selection headache of, I'm going to have to drag someone out of the under-23s. I'm actually, hang on, well, I've actually got an attacking force here that I can work with. You know, if we bring in Nonto, that's great. You know, he's going to have Irabunam, he's going to have Iliman Ndiaye, he's going to have Dele Alli possibly available. He's going to have Dwight McNeil, Jack Harrison, Doucouré, Idrissa Gana Gueye, James Garner again, and even someone else I forgot about with Garner there. And you know, and there's players there now that are like, if they're, and then that's what you want though. You want these players to be thinking, well, I'm not playing. Why not? Do you know what I mean? And then you've got to start. These players are going to have to start stepping up and working harder, because the back 4 pretty much writes itself at the moment. With, you know, it's going to be, you know, your right back's going to be one of 3 there. Coleman, Young, or Patterson. Then you've got obviously Tarks and Branthwaite, and then Michalenko's your obvious left back, because we haven't got another one. But actually Young also fills into that left wing back role as well. So I think that if he's comfortable with that, and he knows he's got that, it's this midfield, and this is where the games a lot of the time with Everton were lost last season, because we lost that battle in midfield. You know what I mean? We had, you know, Dwight McNeil and Jack Harrison, yes, do a lot of running, do a lot of tracking back, do a lot of work, but weren't really given, once the ball went into that middle, it was sort of like, it wasn't going any further than that. We were then losing possession quite easily in that midfield at times, and when pushing to get these strikers into play. That's where Calvert-Lewin comes in, and Calvert-Lewin does your running. Calvert-Lewin is an absolute machine. I love Calvert-Lewin. I think pound for pound, for £1.5 million, one of the best strikers we've had in a long time. Just needs to score goals and actually be a striker. but his work rate, his touch, his vision as well is second to none. He's an absolutely superb footballer and a terrific athlete. But again, is one of those players where does he need someone slightly alongside him, Jimmy, Beto, whoever that might be, or someone who's given him that ball, that killer pass? Does that become Iliam Ndiaye? Does that become potentially Dele Alli? There's got to be that link between the strikers and the midfield that we've lacked for so long, that now this selection headache that Dyche has is actually beneficial to Everton for a change, and not we're having to make the selection because of we haven't got a choice. You know, I think we've been quite smart in the transfer window so far. I think we need to be smarter, and I think we need to bring more pace. If Nonto was that player, brilliant. I think that's the wise choice. As a young lad who's probably not wanting to stay much longer at Leeds, and if there's an option there for him to come to Everton, great, let's go for it. But then, where does that put Jack Harrison? And again, but you see what I'm saying with like this selection headache that he's got, having these options now. You asked at the top of the show, are you positive about Everton? I've almost just talked myself into being positive about Everton. Do you know what I mean? It's quite. I've literally just talked myself into it. So yes, I am positive because we're doing the right things and we're bringing in these players for the right positions now. But having these extra players, having these players over who we can bring in as literally just swap, not square pegs and round holes sort of thing. More like we can swap this player and it will work. There won't be a flaw in the system. And I apologise if I've literally just spoken for 5 minutes there without stopping.
You're not.
Well, that's where you are. Do you know what I mean? And same as the rest of us as well, though. Is the thing is, when in plenty of pre-seasons and stuff, nothing's been happening, and everyone's back gets up, and we start the season, and literally nothing's happened, and then we get to deadline day, and then it's all hell breaks loose, and it ends up being an absolute ridiculous circus. So it's good to see. Literally, it's July, and we're doing stuff now. Mm-hmm. You can't waste 3-4 games start of the season to suddenly then do something. So that's why we're excited about it, really.
No, I was just going to say I completely agree. It's exciting for me because we already signed a player that like before we've even possibly sold Onana. We were just going to say a short thing, God. Before we've even possibly sold Onana, we get Timo Robinho in, which is good because we haven't even sold Onana, and he's meant to be a good young prospect. The Villa fan said that we've had on, so we've got a good central defensive midfielder that looks like he's got potential. Can we get it out of him? We'll see. We've got a number 10, which seems to have took us years, and all of a sudden we get it before the transfer window feels like it's opened. And I do like him, man. I really am excited about him. I can't wait to see him. He's something that we haven't got. So I'm really excited. I am excited. Jack Harrison's come back. Some people probably don't see that as a massive thing because we've already had him. But I tell you something, Jack Harrison is a lot better than what he was last season. If he can be a lot better, he'll feel like a new player. He'll feel like a new winger. Some Everton fans won't get excited about it. It doesn't feel like a new player because he didn't play at his best last season. But I do feel he's got game, and he's trained in like extra training and stuff like that. And I think he knows he wasn't good enough last season. He's going to bring game. We could possibly get Nonto as well, which we're going to quickly brief about. Let's just talk about one sentence. We're going to blast through this and finish it on the 1 hour and a half. It's Everton, you can't stop talking about him, can you? And now I show no chance. Amadou Onana, I want one sentence. He looks like he's going to Aston Villa. Just one sentence. Dave, I'll put you on. Go first.
One good game against Arsenal 2 years ago. Bye. Not for me.
That's Dave's thoughts on him. Paul, Amadou Onana. It's hard with one sentence, isn't it? Because there is bits and bobs to say about it. Paul, Amadou Onana. Looks like he's going 50 million.
Potential not achieved with us, but could do very well at another club. So thanks for your efforts.
Or lack of.
My one sentence will be, I licked your arse more than any other Everton fan to say that he was incredible, Onana. I got loads of stick for it. You didn't frigging help me out at all, Onana. You'll probably go and smash it at Villa and then those can celebrate about you, but I got loads of shit, Onana, for backing you up all season. He has got everything, but he doesn't put it all together in the game. 50 million, whatever. That's a long sentence on Onana. On to the next one. Calvert-Lewin, possibly just a sentence again. We'll just try and get through it. Calvert-Lewin, I mean, Dave, you kind of just spoke about Calvert-Lewin and you've got big words on him, so I'll let you go first on this. Calvert-Lewin, look, do you think, first of all, because I know you spoke on him, he looks like he wants to go, don't he, Dave? Do you think he is going to be gone?
If he wants to go, then he goes, but he leaves with no ill feelings. As I said about Michael Keane, it's probably what I'm saying about Dele Alli. I think Calvert-Lewin owes us more than we owe Calvert-Lewin. There's, we brought him back from injury. Lampard ruined him. Benitez ruined him. I think if he doesn't move in the window, he will sign a new deal, and I would love him to. I would love him to sign a new deal because I think for $1.5 million, do you know what I mean? You've still got a hell of a striker on your hands, and I think a proper summer pre-season. This is all these things that I'm going to be talking about are going to be literally hinging on having a good pre-season now. Same with Beto, same with Michael Keane, same with Chimiti, and the same applies to Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin now has to have a good injury-free pre-season to be ready for the start of the season, and I think if he can do that, because he was out for so long over the last 2 years, that he owes Everton more than we owe him, really. And I think if he stays, great. If he goes, he goes for a £20 million transfer, but then we've made 20 times the amount of what we paid for him. So sounds.
It says West Ham are now interested in him as well. It was Newcastle, now it's West Ham. I think it's at a 25 million fee. Paul, short sentence on Calvert-Lewin. What are you thinking? Are you with Dave on the keep, or you thinking go take the money?
I think he's earned the same accolades as, say, Coleman is and Keane is, where they've been with us for a long time. Saw them when they were younger and really loved them in patches in their career with us. But like you're saying about the season with COVID, he thrived in that. I don't think he's been the same since, whether it be injury or otherwise. I don't even think he actually moves the same either. I think he almost it's short movements for DCL, whereas during that season, I know we got a different manager and stuff like that, but he seemed freer, obviously, and I don't think he's played with that freedom since, to be honest. And I think he could have. So maybe it's just the move will be better for him. Will it be better for us? Only if we've got someone else in who we don't have right now, because we don't have the strikers to do well in the Premiership at all. We don't yet. So I'm happy for him to go. As long as we've got someone waiting properly, ready to go. Because I think injury wise, I think he's not the same as he was 21 season, 2020, 21 season.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm literally, if he goes, I think 20 million when you generally thought he was a finished player. Luckily, Dyche done an amazing job of getting him fit. I think if you get 25 million when he's got not long left on his contract anyway, you'd say, what a steal that is. Put it back into your squad. And it's cracking for us. We're in a good situation now. We've done well with Calvert-Lewin because we can sell him for 20 million and you're happy with that. Or if you kept him, like we said, we've got Illiman in that position now that might start giving Calvert-Lewin a bit of service that he never had, and he could score those 15, 20 goals this season. I do feel like Calvert-Lewin could have a cracking season this season. So part of me is thinking, I want that season with him. But then part of me thinking, if he does want to go, I'll take the fee. I'll buy someone else. And it's been cracking business, as Dave said, paying that much money, bringing him through and getting good money for him later on in his career. So I'm the same as you.
And there'd be no
either way.
Yeah, there'd be no ill feeling. We'd support him wherever he went, really.
I think the only frustration would be is if he went to West Ham or Newcastle, and all of a sudden it's like, well, but if he went to Newcastle, he's not getting in ahead of Isaac. He's barely getting in ahead of Callum Wilson. Do you know what I mean? And Callum Wilson's creaking at the sides now, but has still looked that better striker than Calvert-Lewin has all season.
It could be generally Calvert-Lewin waiting to see what the interest is, and then weighing it up and saying, right, I wanted something better to come in. It hasn't, so I'm going to accept the Everton deal. It's a big move for him. It's his last move at his age.
I think his wages are fucking ridiculous as well, his wage demands. It's like, mate, like I will continue to say, he owes Everton more than we owe him.
It does your head in, done it, when they're like that. We've been in two relegation battles and then nearly won last season. Luckily, not last season. And they think they can demand massive wages, like they're blocking it and getting us Champions League. It's that part of the game does my head in. But yeah, we all 50-50. We don't mind keeping him. We don't mind thingy. Mikalenko come out today. And then we're going to talk about possible signs, which we'll blast through. But Mikalenko, apparently, teams are interested in Mikalenko. Napoli, I think it was, wasn't it?
I would personally rip it up and start again with a left back who's more comfortable with the ball at his feet than Mikalenko. I think he's struggled. He has, no doubt about it. He's a Benitez signing as well, which probably never bodes well. But he has struggled. He's obviously had his injuries as of the last few months. Obviously, the war in Ukraine hasn't helped his head and stuff like that. So you could see that stuff was affecting him early in the season when things were just kicking off over there. But I think if there's an opportunity to sell for a decent fee and recoup what we paid for him, as long as there is someone who we can bring back, then I would go for it. But I think we should be looking at starting again with a left back or a left wing back who can actually control the ball.
It's going to be interesting to see. I do that. I think Mikalenko started really bad. I think he's bulked up. He's a lot more solid. He can defend. We'd all love a Baines. It's hard with left backs, isn't it? Because we've been so spoiled rotten with left backs. We've had such good attacking left backs that you want that. I probably will keep Mikalenko because my left back isn't as probably bad as a right back. I don't know what money they're going to offer, but I don't think it will be big money. We paid like 20 million for him, didn't we? So I'll probably keep him. Paul, what are you thinking on Mikalenko? Keep or let him go on this deal?
Keep him 100%. He's the Tony Hibbert of left backs that we've got at the moment, to be honest. You're not going to see him creating massive amounts. I know he did pop up with a couple of goals in the last couple of seasons, but he's not your most sort of forward attacking fullback, and that's fine for us at the moment because he's got people in front of him. When they get the ball, they're encouraged to run forward with it, a bit like Baines had with Morales, that kind of thing. So, keep Mikalenko for me, definitely.
Baines does your boots off. I've seen a comment there. So sell Mikalenko and get Andy Robertson. Would I thought? No, I bloody won't do that either. I can't stand him. I'm a shitbag, I hate him.
I love a narc. I love a narc. Absolutely. I absolutely adore having as many R-lasses in an Everton side as possible.
I love an R-lass, but I can't. Oh no, I don't want.
I don't like Robertson. Not so, not like that, but do you know what I mean? That kind of player who is a narc, like little gobshite. It's like Mopé. You want him to be that gobshite in your team. It's just unfortunately he's an actual gobshite. And that's the problem that he's got. Be a narc all you want on the pitch, just don't be an actual gobshite in real life, which is what Mopé is. But with Robertson, you know what I mean? He's a working little knobhead, and you'd love him in your team. You would love him if he played for Everton. You'd fucking love him. He plays for them.
You know what?
I detest a little bit.
Yeah, but he's like you can't date him because he's my family. No, I can't. No, you know what I mean? Like, I just can't. He's a no. He's a no. No, not. I said it wrong. Like he's like he's. I don't know how to say it, but no, I just wouldn't. As good as much of a player he is, and I get it. That's why we've all got different opinions and stick to him. He probably would be a lot better in that position than what we've got. I get it, but I just can't do it. It'd be like freaking. Ugh.
But you know exactly what I'm saying, though.
I get what you're saying, but I can't say it because it's like me freaking singing "You'll Never Fucking Walk Alone." I just can't do it. I'm walking alone and I'm saying, Robertson, we're going to snap you next season. Well, I hope he stays there and we snap him. I don't want him to leave them, to be fair. Can't stand him. He's got proper rat face, isn't he, with Henderson? Well, Henderson's gone now. He's one of them. He actually makes me not like Scotland, and I really like. I like Scotland, but he makes me not like them. That's how bad they are. I am a shit house, ain't I, Paul? The next one, we're covering Miko. So, yeah, that is kind of everything. What's going on? We're going to just quickly go through transfers, and we're going to do sentences on these as well because we've gone way overboard on time. Arthur Mello.
Add him to Reek Robertson's list there that you've just been talking about. Don't want him either.
That one as well.
I wasn't going to show. I was going to show it.
I don't know what I didn't even know what I was saying either. Do you know what I mean? It's Robertson got me head all babbled then. Arthur Mello, Dave, we kind of spoke on this. I mentioned his name to you. He's another frigging player that played for them. No.
Well, it's not even just that. He spent the better part. He spent the entire season injured, and I think we've had enough on the treatment table. Thank you very much. Do you know what I mean? So no, I wouldn't even be looking at that.
No, he's a goodbye man. Paul, Arthur Mello. That Juventus lad?
No. Well, like you say, nothing sort of inspires you about the signing at all. So there's plenty more fish in the sea, apparently.
For one of the channels, Paul, you spoke about this player, and you spoke quite good about him. Actually, I rated your video that you sent me. Jesper Lindstrom from Napoli.
Yeah. Attacking midfielder. Started off on Bromby, won the Europa League with Frankfurt, beating West Ham on the way, beat Rangers in there. Likes to come in off the left, has played on the right as well, but Napoli used him mainly as a attacking midfielder and behind the striker. So yeah, a useful addition to the squad. Good competition for various places, to be honest. I don't think either left or right would be comfortable if he's on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether I see him as being, head and shoulders above everyone else that we've already got in the squad, but could be useful. Could be good.
Dave, chuck that one on you. What do you think of him?
Don't know enough about him, to be honest with you. I know what Paul's mentioning there, but all I could see from Napoli fans and stuff like that is that he's struggled in that side this season. No goals, no assists, and I think he's played like 20 odd games, something like that. So I don't know. This is probably not in my field of view, to be honest with you. I didn't even know about that until I read that this morning, and then I looked at it. I looked it up and see what he was about. But obviously Bromby and Frankfurt, he's done really well there. So another one who's ready to come to Everton and either carry on as you're going or revitalise your career. Welcome to Everton, one way or another.
Yeah. And part of the Danish squad as well in the Euro. So, obviously decent with a bit of experience, but not past his prime by any means, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
It does look like we're looking at possible players that are just like not doing it, but could do it. You could say that with a Robertson. It could be a diamond in the rough. I like those players sometimes that have massive potential, but for some reason ain't doing it. And you'd like to think Dyche can make them do it. The next
you like
one,
a comeback though, Dan. You love a comeback though. That's the thing.
I do. I watch too many Rockies. I do, don't I? That's my freaking problem. Right. I do. If we went for Jesper Lindstrom, the next player, Nonto, do you feel that we could get both? do you feel it's one or the other, or do you think we could actually get 2 wingers, Nonto and Lindstrom? Because that's a lot of wingers, then, isn't it?
You've got an overload of wingers, then, haven't you? I think, but then Nonto can also play higher up the pitch. Do you know what I mean? It's, I think Nonto is probably the one, because we've been after him for so long. You know, we went on this merry-go-round last season where we were trying to get him. Will he sign? Won't he? And you know, I think then you've got Harrison, you've got McNeil, and you've got Nonto, and then you get this other cat from Napoli, and all of a sudden you're like, again, Dice would probably love it and have a headache to, you know, well, who am I going to play on the wings? You probably still end up playing Jack Harrison on the right. Do you know what I mean? And playing him out of position the way he does, just to compensate to have Dwight McNeil in the side. But then, you know, Dwight McNeil can then play in that 10. But then Iliam Njai is playing in that 10, or Decore is playing in that 10. So it's selection headaches, but it's like, are we overloading with too many players where we're now trying to, we paid 25 million, we paid 20 odd million for these 2 lads and aren't getting a game because he favours a loanee and someone who he's favoured from his days in Burnley. So it's a tough question. It's a tough ask. I think if we were going to go,
what I thought though, Dave? Do you know what I thought though, Dave? The thing is, and I keep saying this to myself, if Leeds don't let us have Harrison at the end of the season, then we do need wingers. That's what I'm trying to think in my head. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, because, for example, we had Danjuma on loan last season, we had Harrison on loan last season, but then when they went back, we was left with just McNeil and Dobbin.
But it's when Dice doesn't favour these flair players. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. All right, Danjuma wasn't the greatest, and I actually think we got him on loan just to piss him off and just say, okay, well, you fucked us off for Spurs when you know, literally the day before you're due to sign. Falcon Blues did the video on it, welcome you to Everton, and then you go and fucking do that to us, you tosser. So we're going to sign you on loan, and you're going to sit on the bench and, you know, waste another season of your career. But it's just like, he doesn't like. But when he's played, he wasn't that great because he wasn't given that time. But then he doesn't favour those flair players the same. I can go back to Damari Gray and say he didn't play Gray in any kind of, you know, he didn't play Gray. He favoured McNeil and he favoured anyone else that wasn't Damari Gray. And, you know, Gray ends up going for whatever, 8-10 million, whatever it was. But then what would happen with Nonto, what would happen with Harrison, McNeil, Lindstrom, whatever it is, you know, these players aren't going to be kicking the heels on the bench. These are going to be, if you're paying 25 million for these players, they're coming to play. They're coming to be in your starting 11. They're not here to sit on the bench. That's not what they want from their career. If you're paying that money, their name is on the team sheet. It's not Dwight McNeil, Jack Harrison, then Lindstrom, then Nonto. It's the other way around.
No, I said it before on one of the shows. I think with Dan Freakin taking over and probably wanting to put his own stamp on things, Dyche has got to smash it this season, and he's probably going to get forced into playing these flair players, like you said, which is out of character. It's not something he normally does. I'm really interested on seeing what Dyche is going to do, because he's wanted Nonto for so long. Unless Dyche is making the moves, I don't know. It could be Farwell and Dyche is just getting the players and not getting a say. But Dyche did say he gets a say. So he's clearly wanted these flair players. So I'm interested in seeing what he's going to do with them. Paul, what do you think of Nonto? And we'll move on to the next one. Do you want him, Paul?
Yeah, I'd take him as long as he is the same player that he was when we first wanted him. Then I feel like fair enough.
I've already been in like, oh, let's have the Willie, let's suck the Willie. I've already been in get Willie in and James Willie. I feel like I've already frigging deep throat Nonto before, and this is not the first rodeo that we've done it with Nonto. I haven't even joined in with the jokes on the Toffee Bluecast Twitter because I did so many last time and I didn't even get him. Do you know what I mean? I literally talked about Willie for about 3 months and then didn't even get him. So I'm not talking about him anymore. Weston McKennie. Centre midfielder, left back kind of player. What do you think, Dave?
Nah, I don't think we need him. know what I mean? I think for the players that we're looking at, there's better players out there. Weston McKennie has always been one of those players that has always hovered around the Everton transfer speculation window. Always, he's done it for years. You know, he did it. There was a point where we were interested in him and we were almost ready to do a deal, and Spurs were looking at him and everything else, and it was just like, you know what, whoever wants him, just have him, because he just completely. He's just in that window all the time. The same with Nonto. Nonto's always in this window all the time. So it's all about Everton getting Nonto, which is the main one. I think these are just going to be transfer speculations that we're just going to be, you know, we'll be hearing more of these.
Yeah, continuous links. Paul, you agree with him on that? I agree with him on that one. It's a name that seems to pop up for us quite a bit, doesn't it?
He's probably just got a good agent who wants to sort of move him around a little bit. That's all.
Yes, we'll shut him off. Davinson Sanchez, the old Tottenham centre midfielder. Paul, I'll chuck that back on you.
I'd be surprised, to be honest. I think he'd be a backup, as far as I'm aware. I don't know a massive deal about it.
No,
Dave.
No, next. No. Get rid. Not even. Don't even think about it. He was shite.
This is an interesting.
He got bombed out. Fuck that.
Heard Emma say, we said an hour and a half. Dave's going to be thinking, what the heck? By the way, this is the longest show we've ever done. I feel really bad, but when I've written a list, I've got to get frigging through it. I'm never, ever leaving this many frigging topics ever again.
Dave should have brought his sleeping bag.
This is what I'm saying about. No, but Dan, this is what I'm saying about content. Just sharing them out, mate. Just you know, have a 10-minute video about. You know, I've just ranted about Nonto for 10 minutes. You can just talk about Nonto's cock for another 5, and then you know
I do need to start just jumping.
That's why we'll get Jamie
transfers though.
And then at the end, and then when you're uploading the video, you say no, it's not made for kids, and then you can talk about Nonto's cock all you like, and then you're good to go then. You know, but then that's your content done for the day.
Produced by.
I'm going to have to get the Willy thing back out. Kevin Phillips. They say Ronana goes. Phillips, would you be interested? Loads of yellow cards, loads of red cards last season.
Who's that?
Phillips. Phillips.
Calvin Phillips or Kevin Phillips?
Calvin.
Kevin Phillips as a striker ahead of Mopey, to be honest with you. But Calvin Phillips
now
he's still at West Ham on loan. I don't see how you. Again, it's a dice thing, you know. It's a dice thing. You can get something out of him, but it'd be wages more than anything, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's something Dyche. I could see Dyche liking Phillips. What do you think, Paul, on him? I got Calvin Phillips. I brought him back from Stoke.
The pot will be the pot with names of players will get bigger and bigger and bigger as we go on. Any club who is rumoured to have any money. All sorts. It's agents saying they've got some money, so let's throw something out there and see what happens.
Dave, you said this name good. The Chelsea loan player that I said, Leslie.
Did I say?
Yeah, I'm like the Blues will rip me on this. He always corrects me on when I say I'm wrong. What is it? Ugochukwu. Ugochukwu.
I didn't think I said it wrong at one point as well. So.
Leslie Ugochukwu. Well, it's spelled Ugochukwu. I've written it down, but I don't know how to say it.
That's Ugochukwu.
Ugochukwu, yeah. I don't know. Right, but I do know when we played Chelsea last season, the Chelsea fans said he is incredible and he really rated him. So I would like him on loan, and I watched a bit of his YouTube videos, and he does look. I like him. I would take him on loan. I wouldn't mind just getting a loan centre midfielder, young kid. Option to buy would be amazing, but I don't think we would. I'd rather have that Chelsea young up-and-coming kid centre-back to help us in that position than get Phillips, personally. I'd be more interested in that, getting a Chelsea up-and-coming player. Do you like him, Paul? The Chelsea fan did rate him, didn't he? We don't know him that well, do we?
We did do. Don't know much enough about him, to be fair.
No.
As long, there's more to consider when you're bringing a player into a squad. You kind of got to meet him. You got to kind of find what other people think about him as well. So, we don't know enough about him.
the last one before we finish the show. It's a centre back that I would love to get. I said I really want that. Jake O'Brien from Leon. I really want him. I'd love him. I would. A good centre back. I would move Keane on in those circumstances if we could bring in real competition. There's loads of work to be done. What do you think of Jake O'Brien? You two before we finish the show.
Again, it's one of those questions. Is he going to be second fiddle to Branthwaite and Tarkowski when he's playing? He's playing for. Sorry, I'm just looking now myself. Is that Leon, isn't he? So, I mean, let's have a quick look.
Meant to be really good.
You're probably looking at like 30 million
pounds
for them as well, aren't you? So, that's a big blow to your budget when centre half isn't really the main issue here. When your wing backs are probably your issue, your striker is probably your issue. I think there's better ways to spend your money at the moment. I mean, obviously, if money was no object, I think we probably could look at them. But I think with Branthwaite, Tarkowski, they're going to be a centre. If we can keep hold of Branthwaite as a centre half pair in there for another couple of seasons easily with the pair of them, and I think maybe that's a topic for another season with Jake O'Brien if he's still at Leon at this point.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I would like to get Jake O'Brien in because I don't want other people to have him before us, because I think he's like someone good to land on. Just in case Branthwaite did go next, which I don't want to happen. It would break my heart. I'll probably cry. But just in case Branthwaite did go, it'd be nice to have someone really chomping at the bit so you'd feel a bit more safe. But yeah, I do really like him. I don't want him to go to another team and lose that opportunity to get him. But I get what you're saying. It's not a priority, is it? If we've got, like, for example, Keane probably staying in that position like you two have said. That is everyone. That is it. That is my list. Gone. And I tell you something.
In the footballing world.
Well, I said to Paul, I goes, what should we call this show? And he said, Roundabout. And it's felt like it has been a bit of a bloody roundabout, but we've got through it. Dave, I feel like I've completely settled, but the first time I've had you on the show, and I've loved having you on, to be fair.
Good. I've enjoyed it. It's been fun. It's been nice to have a chat with. I mean, normally I just talk to Paul when we're at the match and whatever. So it's good to just talk to other YouTube channels as well. That you'll have to come on ours. And like I said at the start, if you see you're at Goodison, give us a shout. We'll try and do something at the end of it. We'll try and do a match reaction and whatever after the game, and go for a bevy, whatever. You know what I mean? It'd be good to meet you in the flesh as well. But yeah, I've enjoyed this. It's been a good laugh. I've enjoyed having a rant and make myself feel positive about Everton, which doesn't happen very often. So,
well, that's why we're on here.
Exactly, Paul. Exactly. Yeah.
It feels really mad because when Dave's just been speaking about a lot of stuff, some things, like, everyone's got different opinions, and then you say something about a player, and Paul says something about a player, and you think to yourself, this season, we are in a really good situation because. Mm-hmm. When you spoke other seasons going into the season, it's been Everton are going to sign no one. I already accept it. We're not going to sign players. We're going in. We're not that happy with what we've got. But this actually, I am really, really. If we went in and we didn't sign no one now, I'd be really excited. I'd still be excited with what we've got. But the fact we still might sign like wingers and everything's a bonus for me. I'm really liking it. Nice
it's now down though. It's down to us as fans to bottle that positivity.
Yeah,
and it's one of those situations now where I said it at the start. We're at the final season of Goodison Park.
Trophy.
There's no room for us to be misery arses. We've had 3 seasons of it now. We've had 30 seasons of it. Fucking, let's put that all aside right now. See the positivity. See the things that fell well and Deitch, and hopefully the new owners are trying to build. Look at that fucking stadium. You know what I mean? I went past it on the train yesterday evening, and it's all lit up and it's stunning. Do you know what I mean? Everyone will try and use the stadium and go, well, that's the reason why we should be signing players, because they're going to play in that. they don't give two tosses about the stadium. Let's just get that straight. They care about money. They care about the career. We're the ones who care about the stadium. We are the stakeholders of Goodison Park. We're the stakeholders of Everton. You know what I mean? We are the foundations of this club, and we need to now take that positivity that is here. You can see it. You look through social media, you look at this hour and a half, 2 hour conversation that we've had, and we've all gone, you know what? Something can click with Everton. The final season at Everton, it could be shit, but as fans, we've got to keep that positivity going. We've got to not be dragging ourselves into that same situation. It might feel horrible if we have a tough season, but we've got to just go, fuck this. It's us against the world. It's Everton versus everybody. The same way we've done it for the last 4 or 5 seasons since, Lampard, Benitez, whatever. It's an opportunity for Evertonians now to really enjoy the final season of Goodison. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try and be as positive as I can. I'm going to try and be upbeat with our channel. I'm going to try and be, just not stress myself out the way I've done over the last few seasons. You know what I mean?
What you said is amazing. It makes me want to jump off my seat and start throwing punches and everything was. But you don't want to go into you don't want to go into a new relationship with toxic vibes. So the vibes need to be good this season. That's just how I feel. And if no matter what happens, like you said, good season or bad, mid-table, just stay up, whatever. Let's just remember and just think to ourselves all season, this is our last season with Goodison. So don't think too much. The dice will sort the football out. As long as we're okay, it doesn't matter. But it's your last season with Goodison. So treat it good. Treat the stadium good. Do you know what I mean? Let's just make it special, because it's what you have this season in that stadium is the last you'll have with that stadium. So
you're never going to get that back.
Just make sure it's special. You're not going to get that back. So just make sure that and I do think, I don't want to. Paul knows I'm super over the top positive, and it might not happen. But if you get behind good to happen, often good can happen. If you don't, it don't. But at least you know you got behind it. And I think if Dice pulls them together and us fans pull together, just because we know it's our last season, something good can happen this season, where it's finishing frigging that Europa League old David Moyes spot. We're going to have a good season this season. I'm bloody really positive. I can't wait for Everton to start now. Let's just get the season started. Right, everybody. We will shut this off on those positive words. Paul, has he got you going there a little bit as well? Are you ready?
No, yeah. Well, not long to go. Not long to go now.
We're back on it every game, reactions and stuff like that. We're staying positive. We're going to win the first game, and then we're going to be saying, how many games can we go before we lose? And we end up about 10 wins in a row. That is how it's going to go, everybody. Up the top is, thanks, Dave, for coming on.
Thank you very
Dave,
much.
everyone knows you, Dave, but plug yourself before we shoot off. Where are you from?
Yeah.
I already said it. Falcon.
So, I've gone all lady. Right, so you can find us on Falcon Blues TV. All the gubbins will be in the description, I'm sure. But Falcon Blues TV for our YouTube channel. Same with our Twitter account, Instagram, and everything else. And if you're interested, check out. We've got a boss afternoon coming up in the next couple of weeks with Joe Royal at the 1 o'clock gun in the Albert Dock. I've been talking to Joe over the last couple of weeks, and he is just the fucking best. He really is. Joe will be coming. We'll have an afternoon with Joe Royal. I've got the FA Cup coming. We've got proper photo opportunities and stuff like that. But if you check out our Twitter account, you'll see details for tickets. They are limited. It's going to be like a proper intimate afternoon. So if you're interested, go and have a look at that as well. But and come and say hello to me and Paul if he's come as well, because
mate, we'll come out. I've seen Paul do a pool video. Me and Paul will come and tag team you at pool and kick your ass. We'll be there. Don't worry. We'll come and meet you.
Amazing.
Keep getting behind Dave's channel and get behind ours as well. And hit the like and subscribes, as we always say. Up the top is everyone. Have a boss night. 2 hours.
Never really know what's going on.
I really do.